welcome to a 3v3. So this replay was sent in to me by Genie at work. Thank you very much for the replay, and the map is going to be on Pyrenees Peak, so it's going to be very interesting. You see he went as the Prussians. Let's go over his army comp real quick, or actually I'll let him form up. So his ally also went as the Prussians, and then on the far left you can see the final ally went as the Austrians. And it feels as though the Austrians are going to be at a slight advantage, knowing that they love terrain maps. Now, facing Genie is going to be the Austrians as well, so they're going to have a little civil war. And you can see everyone is rushing for this hill right now. You see Denmark's in the mix as well. Minor nation. Very nice to see underdogs. And it does cause for quite a challenge. And you can see on the very far left, you got the British over here slowly taking their time marching up this hill, bringing some foot guards, very elite troops. So everyone is pretty much running up these hills right now. I believe the rules for this battle were no artillery, max 5 lights. But let's take a look at his army. So I'm going to slow it down for you guys. So on the right flank, he's got is that 4 Prussian Fusiliers, so I guess it's 4 lights, no artillery. Then he has 1, 2, 3 musketeers, and then followed up by some cuirassiers, dragoons, some more cuirassiers, general staff, 1, 2, 3 more musketeers, and then finally another, foot guards. So he's got some foot guards here. So he does have a very strong left flank. And let's see what he's going to do with that. So I'm guessing this is going to be his pushing flank, seeing that he has the best troops on this flank. But we can see, looking at the map, there's going to be a clash in terms of cavalry. We got the Life Guard of Horse now charging into the Hungarian Hussars. But they are going to be pulling away because those Life Guard of Horse are very deadly. You see already taking 3 losses for the Austrians, but look at this, the British cavalry coming in now for a charge. Look at this, Austrian on Austrian. Where's the sound? Come on, there we go, there's the sounds. So it is a total clash of cavalry right now. We got Denmark, the Danish, you got the Austrians having a little civil war, as well as the British. So pretty much Austria is the only one on Genie's side that's really engaging in this attack in terms of cavalry, and it is very confusing right now. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cavalry units going at it right now. It is insane. Not too sure which units are which, but you can see on the right side are Genies. Oh, look at this, the Prussians are now going to aid this attack as well. And this is going to be a very close game, but those Life Guard of Horse and those cuirassiers are going to cause a lot of damage for the Austrians and Prussians. So we will see how that... Ooh, it looks like the... Wow, the Prussian players going in for a cheeky charge on these Norwegian ski troops right here, bringing their numbers down to 44 men. Got a charge by the general, very daring, very daring. Don't want to lose him at the start of the battle. We got the lights now opening up. So, action instantly, and it looks as though everyone is just throwing away their cavalry into the mix right here. And you can see, I believe, some Austrian units are now routing. British morale is not getting good. They don't have the best cavalry, but that is okay because they are going to get supported by their line infantry very shortly. Prussian cav still causing a ton of devastation right now. You can see the bodies are dropping for these Norwegian ski troops. And down to 36 men. That is not good. You can see the other units are trying to reform. Actually, 2 units down to 36 men. That's pretty funny. And over here... Wow, like I said, you do not want to get your general in the mix, and it looks like the, wow, Denmark's general is now dead. That is going to cost him quite a bit this game in terms of morale. Denmark doesn't have the strongest morale, and it's just going to make it even worse. So, people are forming up right now. You can see the Austrians are making a very tight formation, and this is going to allow Genie to outflank him. And that is not going to be good. He might be able to counteract with some light infantry, but look at this. The cavalry engagement is still continuing. Bodies are just piled up. It is absolutely crazy, but a great job by the ally of the Austrian player, doing a phenomenal job in holding off this cavalry, or at least trying to eliminate them. We do have the foot guards now ready to fire. No, I guess not. He's going to be running away. Not too sure why, but it looks like the Austrian's going to lose this fight. But he did an excellent job in terms of keeping the enemy from really getting an advantage in terms of cavalry. Actually, it might not even be that way. Looks like they're both still very even. And you can just look at the map. Pretty much every single one of those units are cavalry units. So, pretty much almost all the cav is gone. Okay, so now we have the Danish now going to be pushing up, as well as the Austrians are going to be reforming. It looks like a little skirmish engagement is going to happen right here between the Prussians and the Austrians. Prussians do have the advantage here with 125 range, as to where the Austrians have 90 or 100 range. And look at this! Wow, the allied Austrian player did actually manage to keep one of his... Nope, take that back. Looking at the map. That is an... Wait, is it? Yes, that is an enemy unit. Oops, no. Going under the map. That's not good. Okay, let's get back into the combat. I hate when it does that. So, let's pause it, or slow-mo it. So, Austrian player did an excellent job in making sure no one really has cavalry left. The Austrians did manage, the enemy Austrian did manage to win, but, I mean, with only 16 guys, it really did even the playing field. And just let's take a look at the bodies of this cav engagement. Pure cavalry, something you don't really see too often, but it is definitely a bloodbath for this hill. So we still have the skirmish engagement continuing now. Looks like the musketeers or foot guards actually going to engage with these grenzers. Nice flanking by the Prussians. But look at this, very intense battle right now. Musketeers are just going to continue to fire volleys after volleys into these Austrians, and you could just see the Prussians really are spread out, and that's going to really help them out. But look at this, the Austrians will not be flanked, so he's going to be sending over more units. But look at this, the Prussians do have cav here, and there's going to be a big charge now. Luckily, those Austrians did form square. It's going to send a lot of those cuirassiers, very elite cav, into, or just flying. Let's check out, yeah, look at them fly. Not good. So, not a good way of using the cavalry, but very smart move here, distracting this line of infantry so he gets some nice volleys in. And let's just check out this point-blank shot. Oh, killing his own horse. Oh, poor horse, but he did manage to get a lot of kills there, so good job there. It is clustered right here between the Danish and the Austrians. You can see they're very compact in terms of lights, and especially line infantry. You can see the Danish player not really doing a good job of spreading out, but he's just keeping these guys in reserves. You can see he has a ton of reserves here. Over here for the British, it looks like they're going to be running up and down the hill. Oh no, they're going for a big charge here. Not the smartest moves, but we will see how this goes. Got some elite line infantry, but we will see how that fends. Are the Austrians going to be able to hold this attack? This massive charge coming in from the British. Oh, grenades thrown. Anybody's gonna die. Oh, that is loud. No, it looks like it was a failed attempt by those grenadiers. Very nice try in trying to take out a lot of those British troops. Looks like those German Fusiliers are just going to get slaughtered by the massive charge sent in by the British. Over here, the skirmish engagement is still continuing, but not a good job for the enemy. Their lights are way too close to the Prussians, and this is going to allow the Prussians to get some nice shots off with the regular line infantry. Over on the flank, though, Prussians are... It's pretty even, you could say. The Austrians do have the hill, but the Prussians do outflank them. And the cavalry still going in. Not being most effective, though, in charging into a square. Not the best idea you want to be doing with cavalry, especially cuirassiers. These guys are very elite and very expensive. So it looks like the Austrians and the Danish are actually going to be losing this engagement right here. And that's probably just because they are so clustered right now, and they're getting very close to these foot guards. And foot guards don't miss. Well, they do, but you get the idea. Their accuracy is very, very good, and they have a very quick fire rate. So these guys are going to get mowed down very quickly. But look at this. The Danish player should be using his reserves. He used some of his reserves on the flank, but he should be pushing almost every unit out, or up. Look at this, British making a very successful push right here on the left side of Genie's ally. And you can see just the Jaegers are pretty much the only units that are holding back some very elite troops. You got the 88th here, we got the 42nd and the Highland Foot, ton of elite troops from the British player, and it seems to be paying off. That melee charge did do a lot of damage to this Austrian player, so it looks like he's going to try and pull back what troops he can and try to reform and make another battle line next to the Prussians. But over here, success is it's going very well right here. These Grenzers are putting up a fight for these foot guard, but the foot guard are just mowing them down very quickly. Morale's not looking too good for them either. Over here on the right flank, Genie is really wrapping the flank right now. Taking a look, you can see he's almost behind enemy lines right here. But he's going to be pulling back. It looks like he's going to reform. He's actually going to use his lights now. He hasn't really used his lights much this battle, just because he was flanking around. I think he was picturing a battle up on this hill, but instead they decided to kind of cluster up and work together. Lights getting mowed down right now, but they are getting some return volleys in, but it is into the landwehr, not the best unit you want to be firing at. British doing a phenomenal job here, and I believe Genie, I haven't watched this, but I'm guessing in Genie's mind, he knows he has to win this flank quick, or else the Austrian player on this left flank is just going to collapse due to the too skilled of the British troops. Their skill level is just way too high. Their numbers are pretty good too, so I think he is taking that into consideration. Him and his ally hopefully trying to break these Austrians and Danish troops as quickly as possible. But look at this, the Danish player using his reserves now, and this is going to force Genie back even further just because he's outnumbered at this point. He does have some cavalry here, but it is fairly depleted with only 21 men. Look at this, you can see the battle lines now, but you can see right here a lot of routing enemy troops are happening. And I think most of those are the light infantry. You can see the general trying to inspire his men, but things are not looking good here. And look at this, the Prussian player really not using much of his force to take out the Danish player and the Austrians, so good job there. And he's actually going to engage in some melee, get the foot guard up against some Hungarian Fusiliers. Fusiliers are actually going to charge into the landwehr, knowing that he probably can't win a fight with foot guards, even though they are fairly depleted. So it looks like the rest of the reserves from the Danish players going to be moving over to the right flank, seeing that the British are being much more successful here. And once again, another massive charge. So the British player has a very unique tactic. I believe he's just using his overwhelming numbers and, what is that? Grenades! Oh no, that's not going to be good. A couple bodies dropping there, but like I said, the British player is going to be using his numbers and skill level to hopefully win him this engagement. You can see he's just starting to overwhelm these Austrians, and they just don't have the numbers to do so. And he really can't position or reposition any troops on the right flank to his left, just because he's going to get caught up with some light infantry in the forest. So big melee engagement now, but one good thing that the Austrians have, they have the hill advantage, but they don't have the numbers, so we will see how this turns out. Looks like he's going to try and flank with some Hungarian Fusiliers. Good job there. You got the general from both sides trying to inspire their men. Grenades going off. That is not good for the morale of the British. They're still exploding randomly, but look at this. The Austrians are just not able to hold. They do not have the numbers at this point. The general is watching his men run away, and just the overwhelming numbers of British troops here. It looks like the British do have some extra troops here that looks like he forgot about. But on the left flank, wow, the Danish are actually pushing back the Prussians, or Genie, and he's going to be forced to pull back. He does have a very, very healthy light force, and very smart move here, running back his guys, making sure his musketeers or enemy line infantry cannot get in range. So phenomenal job there. Looks like he did get a little bit too stretched thin, and that did cause him to pull back, but his ally in the center doing a very, very good job here. And these Austrians are in quite some trouble right now. Even though it's just landwehr in the front lines, they are causing a lot of trouble. Looks like the Danish player is really clueless as to where he should put his men. Looks like he's Yeah, he's just running them back and forth, it looks like. But look at this. Wow. It looks like the Austrian player did manage to pull over some extra units on the right flank. And actually kind of pull this British force backwards. And you see their numbers have pretty much been drained due to that engagement. You see the carnage right here. A lot of bodies. So it looks like the British player is going to try and reform and think of another way of attacking the Austrian player, if he's even going to do that, because it doesn't look like he has the numbers anymore. So excellent job by the Allied Austrian force right there to counteract that British push. Now over here on this flank, nice cav charge by the Cuirassiers into these line infantry, bringing their morale down, and good job in pulling back his line infantry. He's actually going to be pushing them up now. I think he knows he can easily take out these two line infantry units with his rifles. No, he's actually going to pull them back. Very smart move there. His ally on the hill right now, going to reform, get some nice shots off, but these Austrians and Danish troops are not giving up. They do have some pretty low numbers, 27 men. They're still not breaking, probably because his general's right behind them. If I were the Danish player right now, I'd be pushing up my reserves and hopefully helping these Hungarian Fusiliers win this engagement. Looks like the Danish player's kind of going crazy with the charge. There he goes. So he's going to try and charge into some foot guards. Not the smartest moves, but it's definitely better than getting shot at from light infantry. So it looks like the Austrians and Danish player did manage to actually repel this Prussian push here, but the Prussians do have quite a force still in this forest. They're actually hidden right here, so the enemy does not know the numbers that the Prussian player still has in his arsenal. So it looks like the British are going to reposition and attack once more. And he still has those elite troops, Highland Foot 88th, King's German Legion Foot, and regular foot. So I mean, he still has some elite troops, just their numbers are very depleted. I think the Austrian player knows that, so he's going to be pulling back to his Prussian ally in hopes of turning the tide over there. So it's kind of a stalemate here. But look at this. The center is holding very strong for the enemy. You see actually breaking those two musketeer units. Actually one landwehr, and the other one was a musketeer unit. So I believe it is time now for the Prussian player to push up his reserves just because he knows he needs them. And he does have some pretty elite troops. A lot of foot guards and the 8th Life Regiment. And some more musketeers. And look over here. Wow, okay, so the Prussian player did repel that that melee charge. No surprise to me. These foot guards are very elite, but the Danish player did set up a pretty good defense. But like I said, Genie does have that light advantage, and he could shoot these Danish players from a very, very far range. Is this another cav or charge? Why am I saying cav charge? I don't think there's much cav over here, if any. Okay, so it looks like these Cuirassiers are caught up in square right now. And like I said, using the light infantry to his advantage right now, getting that extra range in, getting those extra volleys to kill those guys. So the Danish player needs to think quick, because he doesn't have the range advantage. He does have the numbers, but he needs to try and minimize the range. Now, if I were him, I would try to use like a hill right here. You can see I would try to set my guys up here, so when these guys do cross over the hill or crest the hill, my guys will be in range, and it won't allow him to fire further than my range, just because, you know, there's a hill blocking your view. So if you're ever in that situation, try to hide behind terrain if it is a terrain map. If you're in grassy flats, you're pretty much screwed. So just kite in that case, I guess. So the engagement is continuing. It looks like the Danish player is running low on ideas, so he's actually going to be pushing up. A smart move by Genie, pulling his guys back and only taking a few losses. So smart move there. Wow. Charge here. Lifeguard of foot into these foot guards. Foot guards are actually going to break just because these lifeguard of foot are also pretty elite. We got a Prussian push in the center now, pushing back those Austrians. Good flanking fire by those Hungarian Fusiliers on those musketeers. So yeah, over here the British player, he actually has a surprisingly big force from what I last saw. Maybe he did have some hidden units here, but he does have some healthy units. They're not the healthiest. He does have a 119-man foot guard unit, and another one with 111, so he still has quite a force, and he does have the light infantry range over these Austrians. So once again, the British do have the advantage for these Austrians over the Austrians. We get this, we got a melee charge. The Danish player is getting very desperate at this point. Genie doing a good job in shooting down those guys, but he was a little slow to run away from this melee engagement, and this is going to cost Genie quite a bit, just because lights aren't really meant for melee combat, but we will see how that goes. The Prussians do have some pretty good melee troops in terms of light infantry, but I mean, it's not nearly as good as light infantry, but they can fend for themselves for quite some time. So we got some cavalry now. The Cuirassiers, looks like the final cav unit is trying to engage and hopefully stop this attack from the Danish light infantry, but the lights are in some trouble right now. They're losing a lot more men than what they should be if they were running away. Over here, another melee engagement. This time, the Austrians and the Danish player ganging up on the Landwehr. Landwehr is a militia unit. That unit is bound to break. Over here, we got some musketeers firing. Oh, wow, the Austrian player not really paying attention to his flank right now. He's going to be running back. Why is there a random ladder in the middle of this battle? Okay, I don't understand that. I don't get it. Anyways, moving on. Austrian player getting very desperate right now. And once again, British player is going to have a nice charge. Even with his general, very nice. But you can see, obviously tell who's going to be the victor on this flank. The British just have too many numbers and too many skilled units, like I said already. Very slow charge here. Highland Foot are exhausted after all that running. So look at this. We got the foot guards engaging on those light foot. Things are still very even right now in terms of balance of power. But look at this. Wow. Okay, the Danish player is making some very, very good progress right here, but his morale is getting pretty bad. Those Cuirassiers, they get a pretty good charge in, but his morale is going to go right back up, at least on the right side. Or maybe not. Who knows? But look at this. Prussian Fusiliers fending for themselves and trying to take out these Danish light infantry units. They're doing their best. They definitely are doing their best, but they've taken some serious losses doing this. And it looks like they are going to be able to break one of the light infantry, actually both, so good job there by Genie. Still having a few units left. I believe he's going to reform. So over here, the British do outnumber. It looks like the Austrian player on the Allied side is completely gone from the battle, as well as... No, actually, never mind. So yeah, that's pretty much the only guy that's pretty much out of this battle right now. So looking at the map, you can tell that the Allies, Genie and his guys, actually did manage to win on their right flank, but the Austrian player did not pull his, or do his part and cost them on the left flank. So they're going to have, I believe, haven't watched this yet, so I believe they're going to have another clash in the center, and they're going to be fighting for this hill once again. So things are going to get very intense shortly. It looks like a melee charge here. Last unit for the Danish player. They're going to counter charge, not a smart move, into foot guard, and I'm pretty sure those guys are going to break instantly. 11 guys, they're going to break very, very shortly. There they go. So that unit is gone. You see both sides have pretty much quieted down, you could say. Got a little skirmish engagement going, but I'm going to fast forward for now and just wait for this next attack to come. Oh, actually, take that back. It's going to be a very quick attack. We've got a charge from the foot guards into those light foot. Looks like he's actually going to reform and hopefully get some nice shots off before those guys can get away, but they're going to get some return volleys. So if these foot guards stay here, they're going to get just destroyed by these light infantry. And it's a smart move there, pulling back. Got a light on light engagement. This is very interesting. I do have my money on these light foot though. They do have the bayonet, as to where these Jaegers do not. You see the snow just sucking sucking down those muskets. getting stabbed in the chest. Not fun. Yep. The Lightfoot barely lost anything. So, like I said, very, 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 very close game right now. It looks like they're all just going to reorganize. It looks as though the only units from the enemy team are actually from the British, so that is very surprising. But the Prussians, they don't have much to offer. I believe, let's take a look at their armies. So 8th Life Regiment, some foot guards, musketeers, some foot guards. So 3 very, very healthy elite troops, and he does have 2 elite, or not elite, but 2 decently healthy light infantry units with a general. Now looking at the British, he has some King's German Legion foot, some foot guards, some foot guards, light foot, and some more light foot. So in this case, the British do have the light advantage. They do not have the numbers though, but they do have a, I would have to say both armies do have a very even number of elite troops. And in terms of health as well, you can see this foot guard unit has 108 men still. So I'm going to continue to fast forward and wait for this game to pick up once again. You see they're kind of fighting for this hill right now, trying to claim sides, but smart move here by the Prussian player, using his lights on one side and then pushing up his line infantry on the other. Oh, got some skirmishing going on right now. It's going to return some volleys, but otherwise things are pretty silent. It's just a stalemate of who's going to be skirmishing first, you could say. So you can see now Prussian player is going to be pushing up his guys. Looks like the Prussians, though, they are tired of these lights, so they're actually going to be charging these musketeers in. Let's see how that goes. Actually chasing them away from the battlefield, but it does look like they're going to actually reach melee. This is going to be horrible for the British if they do not run away. Oh no, they're actually going to get caught up in melee. That is not good for the British player. He should have been pulling back and just kiting away, because now these British lights are doomed. I can guarantee you that. Their numbers are just, they're going to be depleted very quickly. Even though they do, it looks like they do have more men, the musketeers. The skill level is going to be what causes this loss right here. So let's just fast forward. Oh wow, I am extremely okay, I was about to say, I thought those Prussian musketeers were about to break, but look at that. They're going to break. Those 2 lights did break, and that I believe that changed the battlefield, or the tides of the game right here. And it still looks like the British do have the advantage here, looking at the balance of power, but it is a very, very, very slight difference in terms of who has the upper hand. So once again, these guys are pushing up. Okay, so now the attack is really coming on now. We got the 8th Life Regiment, foot guard, and another foot guard unit engaging on these British foot. British foot going to be pulling back, just knowing he does not have the numbers here. Looks like his healthiest unit's actually on the flank, and they're going to be getting shot at from some light infantry, so that is not good. Beautiful volleys too, taking out quite a few of their men. And you see he's very spread out, so he's using maximum firepower at the moment. Very, very good move here. Oh, look at this. We got the 8th Life Regiment pushing up too. Looks like another melee engagement. The British player just loves melee. I can... It's not hard to tell that he loves melee. So once again, another melee charge here. Very, very nice. You can actually see the Prussian 8th Life Regiment actually getting some shots off in melee. So it looks like the British player is just throwing in all his men right now into this engagement. This is going to allow the Prussian player to, get some nice shots off from afar and just shoot the enemy British troops down one by one. It's just so cool to see these bodies just fall. Getting some friendly fire here, not good. Okay, so it looks like the British fighter is going to try and continue his charge onward to other line infantry units. Seeing that he's taking very, very bad losses right now. General charging in with his men too. But yeah, the Prussian players just pretty much encircled him at this point. 8th Life Regiment holding very strong right now, making sure he will not break. This is going to allow the Prussians to get some very, very nice shots off. And there they go. You can see one by one those British units are routing. And looks like there's only 4 units left for the British player. And they're just breaking one by one. There goes another. There goes another. And they're just running away one by one. Actually, the British general actually did die. Not good, but that's not going to do anything. And that is pretty much the game. So, excellent game. You can see he's won with some pretty good numbers. So let's take a look at the stats. You can see Genie getting some phenomenal kills, with 1,500 kills. You see his ally, Prussian ally, 1,300 kills. Austrian player, 1,100 enemies, 1,100, 1,000, and then 1,300. Let's look at his unit statistics. So the Foot Guard on top, 164 kills. Cuirassiers doing a good job too, 130 kills, and some Prussian Fusiliers doing a good job too. So hope you guys, or thank you Genie for sending me this replay. Really appreciate it. And keep these replays coming, guys. I do have a lot to go through. And also, I don't know if you guys heard in the background this keyboard, but in about like 3 days I'm about to get my new keyboard. It is non-mechanical, so hopefully you guys won't hear me, if you guys can hear me right now, just spamming the keyboard. And I'm not even pushing down hard, just, this mic is so sensitive. So keep an eye on that, maybe you guys can notice a difference. I'm pretty sure I will. But yeah, until then, you guys, excuse me, I cannot talk. Until then, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later.